Ms. Grosu, I'll begin with you. Will you please talk about the ironic juxtaposition between the amount of medical care available to a premature baby who was wanted and a live premature baby who is the result of an attempted abortion and deemed unwanted?
Essentially, a premature baby now who can survive at 20 weeks post-fertilization, if given proper care and treatment, is able to make it. And this kind of care is being held in an incubator or being given oxygen, using a little infant oxygen mask, even being kept warm to maintain body temperature of the baby. These types of treatments are given to babies because a woman decides that she wants that child. So that child's value is dependent on another person's opinion of that child. So if the woman wants her child, that baby is going to be given the absolute best care that our medical communities have. And if that woman deems that she does not want that child is thrown in the trash, as we've seen time and time again, as Jill Stanek has expressed, as the videos, we've seen the videos that the child is taken apart and the baby's body parts are being sold on the market. And so we are asking, under this Born Alive bill, that abortionists be required to give basic, immediate care to a baby once that baby has taken his or her first breath. These are children who are outside of the vaginal canal. They are recognized as legal persons under our laws, and they should be protected.
Well, thank you, Ms. Grosu. I think that is the profundity of all of this at times for me, is that somehow, how do we separate the wanted child from the unwanted child? It occurs to me that if we say that child's unwanted, that we say nothing about the child. We say only something about those of us around the child. And if indeed we have come to the point where what gives a child the right to live and the right to protection is being wanted or unwanted, then all the dreams of the founding fathers are lost, and all of the things that those people out in Arlington National Cemetery died to preserve are lost. Because America's founding dream was this notion that all of us were created equal and that these were rights given by God, that this thing was a miracle. And that to secure that right, that's the reason governments came about. And that it had its power from the consent of the governed. And there is no way to articulate the tragedy of losing even one little child. But I would suggest to you that something else is lost here. And that is that it's not the dying that leaves scars, it's the killing. And when we create this stone in our hearts and our conscience to where we are able to say this born alive child is only protectable if they're wanted. Do you understand where we come to then as Americans? Do you understand what's left? If we don't want to protect a born alive child, then who should we protect? If killing a born alive child is not wrong, then on what basis do we say anything is wrong? What protection do any of us have when as a society we harden our hearts to the extent that we will stand by and advocate and say it's a right to kill a born alive child and there should be no protection for that child? I do fear for my country. And I pray that somehow in the days ahead that our country will begin to consider who we are. I would call upon Donald Trump to say who he is on this issue, on the born alive protection. I would call on Hillary Clinton to do the same thing. I would call on the U.S. Senate to bring this bill up for a vote. Because if we are no longer committed to protecting born alive children, then it's time to board the place up that we're in and go home because the battle is lost. And this ideal that all of us were created equal and are children of God has slipped from us. And I, for one, do not believe that. I believe that Americans are still protectors of children. I believe that America's best days are still ahead. And I believe that some of the testimony we've had here today is the most compelling I've heard in a long time. And I would just say to those of you that disagree, there's no hate in my heart toward you. But I would also say something that William Wilberforce said a long time ago. He said, and he was talking about slavery, he said, you can turn away, but you can never again say that you did not know. Today, you know that born alive children are dying, and there are those of us trying to protect them. And I only pray that somehow, that as it's happened in the past in America, that we come to a conclusion that, you know what, this is not who we are. And we still hold these truths to be self-evident, that we're all created, and that makes us a miracle, and that's worth protecting.